Are you there?
Yeah, I think so. At least partly.
I'm amazed that this is all working.
I bring good luck.
You do. You're the good luck man. Okay. Hey, welcome to 11th Hour Radio. We're sitting here in the Royalton Community Radio studio on a beautiful, beautiful day. Post-blizzard. But it wasn't really a blizzard, was it?
No, they exaggerate all the time.
Yeah, we were kind of hoping it would be, but nah.
It's like fishermen, Fishermen exaggerate, and everybody exaggerates snow depths.
God. Yeah. What are you going to do?
But we're happy. We got snow, and we had it for Christmas.
I know. Yeah, it looks good.
It sure does.
The image of it is more important than actually its true qualities, just that it looks good and makes us feel good. And I mean, what do we really do with it? What's it worth? What is snow worth? I don't know. Well, I guess to the ski industry it's worth something, but
yeah, it's worth the silence when we go in the woods and ski. We get away from all the ski areas, all that loud noise and skiing in a city. It's nice to be in the woods with snow. Yeah,
and it's a blanket. Truly, it's a blanket. And I just said that because I was playing devil's advocate because you know how much I love snow.
It's a blanket for our soul.
Yes. It's a kind of a sleeping on top while dreaming and having a full life underneath.
Well said.
Thank you. So, did I say that this is 11th Hour Radio? Did I even say that yet?
You can go ahead and say that.
Okay, this is 11th Hour Radio. I think I did say it, but you can't say it too much, right?
True. Don't.
That's what I say. Yes, and anyway, I'm Kristina Stykos. I am half of your hosting mechanism for this morning, and the other half today is Davey Davis. Emily Howe, our regular, has somehow slipped away to do something else.
And I'm the last resort.
I was really dragging up the drags when I called you.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
No, it's just so good to see you, though.
Good to see you.
Actually, I'm really thrilled. I only tried 2 other people. I'm going to take my gum out because I don't think it's good to chew gum on the air.
We can just hear it. We can't really see it. But.
I know, but it just doesn't sound very professional, so I'm going to stick it onto my notebook. There we go.
You can have it later?
Well, it's stuck to the paper now.
Paper's good.
Paper's kind of...
Papers really gives it texture.
Yeah,
like that.
Little roughage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a good point there.
Good for your gut.
Yeah.
Have some words on it, too.
Exactly.
Digest it. Those beautiful words. That poetry that you write, put that on that gum.
Okay.
Chew on it. I'll chew on that. I like that.
Okay. That's good to know. That's great. Well, so I've asked you to come here today so that we could have an experiment in conversational improvisation, which is what the show is all about. It's stream of consciousness radio is what we call it. And we can kind of talk about whatever we want to talk about. So I have a list of odd topics that I bring that I often will refer to, and I see you've got a little bit of a list. That's a lot better than Emily usually brings a piece of paper towel that has a few words scrawled. But you actually have a piece of paper. That's cool.
Yeah, I love Emily. Actually, her family, my family was from Heartland many generations, as was hers, and they played baseball together in the old Central Vermont League, baseball league, all this family stuff.
Great. So you actually knew Butch.
Oh, yeah.
You know Butch.
I know Butch.
And you knew Butch.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think that's awesome. Yeah. Well, we didn't get snowed in. I actually I emailed Todd last night and said, hey, I might get snowed in. And he said, okay, just let me know by 10 o'clock. But I got up I was up at 5 o'clock this morning for some reason.
I was too.
Were you? A lot of people, it seems.
I was up at 5.
You were up at 5. I was up at 5. And partly because the cats were chasing a mouse. And I know what they sound like when they chase a mouse. They're quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden there's this big flurry of, foot pattering and strange sounds. So I got up and I went over to them. I guess it was 2 out of the 3 were sitting staring at a mouse. And you can imagine who was dominant. Daisy was sitting there right next to it and obviously toying with it. So I had a dilemma there at 5 a.m, what to do. Because there was the little mouse and it was still alive. And it looked like it was in pretty good shape. It was wobbling slightly. It was listing to the side just a bit. But there was no blood. And what do you think I did?
I think you took it outside. Or did you throw it in the stove?
No. You think I would throw a live mouse in the wood stove?
I mean, really, why not? I mean, it's like, what do we do, cremation?
Oh.
That's a dignified thing to do with a mouse.
No, but that's when they're deceased.
Well, I suppose you got a point there.
Well, I guess you're not going to be able to guess what I did, because I did something that probably you wouldn't have done.
Tell me.
Okay, I got a jar, and I got him trapped under the jar, and then I picked him up in the jar, and I took him. Well, I didn't really know where to take him. I didn't want to put him out in the snow, so I picked him up in the jar, and I took him into the basement, and I let him go. I just couldn't kill him. And then I felt bad, and I went back upstairs and I got some butter and I put it on a piece of paper and I brought it down, and he was still sitting there. He was dazed. I don't think he was super happy about being in the basement either, but at least the cats weren't there. So I gave him the butter, and I thought about getting him some water, but then I just said, no, just got to back out of this now.
You really have a kind heart.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just obsessively protective of the creatures in my realm.
If I could have gotten that mouse, I'd have eaten it before the cats.
Really?
Those are good.
Really?
Barbecued mouse. Oh,
really?
I love it.
Okay. Cheers. He's got coffee. I'm all done with mine. I smell coffee in my sleep, I swear. Just before I wake up, I'm involved with this very intense hallucination where I'm smelling it, so that when I wake up, I'm breathing coffee, but nobody's there making it normally. I mean, every once in a while, someone might be up before me making coffee, but I don't even need a person there to have the experience.
How about getting a DUI for coffee?
How about that?
Did you read about that?
I saw it go by on Facebook. I actually didn't click on it. Obviously, you clicked on it. Yeah, no, well, that's not going to happen to me, probably. Well, maybe. I don't know.
All Americans are driving under the influence of caffeine, pretty much.
Yeah, uppers. What do we call them as kids? We used to call those uppers. And
uppers?
There were uppers and downers.
Well, I was so old, I don't remember that.
Yeah, you were 10 years older than me. You weren't that old when I was little. So guess what? Karen came to visit me from Karenville.
I know. I think that's marvelous. I love that.
Yeah.
I love Karen and Robert.
Yeah. Yeah, so she made it all the way to my house. She came from Ithaca, New York. She visited another friend that was in Burlington, and then she came down. And she brought me soap. She made soap and gave me 2 bars of soap, and she gave me bread that she had made in a jar, which is very cool because did you know that people can bread? She makes the bread, she sticks it in a jar, and then she cooks the jar in the toaster oven, and then takes it out and seals it like you do with jam or something like that. And that bread can actually last for a whole year.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So we had that for breakfast yesterday.
Was it gluten-free?
No, I don't think so.
No.
It was just bread. You know, bread comes with gluten normally in the normal scheme of the universe. So I guess we ate that. And she was heading off to Old Forge yesterday, right as the storm was blowing in. So
wow.
I kind of kicked her out about 9:30. I thought maybe she wouldn't get it because she was going west. But she did, evidently.
Yeah.
I think she would have had to go up at some point to get to Old Forge, right?
Yeah, I think so.
In the Adirondacks. Yeah. But that was pretty cool seeing Karen. And did you know Karenville, which we've talked about Karenville before on this program. Karenville is a little village of tiny houses that Karen built all these houses herself. Kind of, she wasn't thinking of having an Airbnb, but it eventually turned into that. Somebody just said jokingly, "Oh, why don't you turn it into an Airbnb?" So she tried it, and now it's a booming business. I mean, she makes a lot of money from it, but she pretty much shuts down in the winter. But you can pay $20 and you can go for the day in the winter just to see it. She's got that set up. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I should do that. People could pay me $20 and come see me.
Well, yeah, but you've got skiing up there, cross-country skiing.
Yeah, well, I could take people on a tour.
Yeah,
you could too. You're the ski instructor. So why don't you do it?
Sure. I'm glad to.
Okay.
Like it.
You've done a lot of... What's your favorite skiing place?
Favorite?
Yeah.
In the woods.
Anywhere?
Tellying through the trees. I've taken a lot of hits, so...
Yeah.
I used to wear birch bark for knee pads, but...
How'd that go?
Well, you know, it was sketchy. I've hit a lot of trees.
Yeah.
I remember taking an ironwood right between the eyes, and whoa, I didn't have a helmet back then. We never used any of that. We had skinny skis, too. Little tiny skis, man. We were crazy.
Yeah, and I've heard that Mount Ascutney doesn't have the normal amount of snow that you'd see on the Green Mountains. It's a little thinner over there, so you have to be a better skier to navigate on less snow, right?
Yeah, a little stupid.
Yeah, but you get to be a really good skier that way.
I guess. Good enough. Good enough to get by and have fun.
Little banged up.
Yeah, the woods, though, it's wonderful skiing. I mean, look at the terrain you've got all over this beautiful state. State of mind, too.
Yeah. Did you and your brothers go out? Did your sisters go out just as much? Did you all go out together, or how did that work?
Well, one brother and I were mostly the backcountry skiers.
Who?
My brother, Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff was an incredible skier. Yeah, pretty amazing. I would see the saplings moving a little bit where he'd been. So I could ski okay, but he was like in another zone. I was always kind of chasing him.
That's cool. That's good. Good practice to have somebody to chase.
Yeah. One time I remember my cousin was chasing me, and he was younger, and he was probably a little faster. So I saw this brook, and I threw myself across the brook, landed on the other side, and he came, and the brook crashed in. He went in it.
Oh. Yeah, it's not always easy to get over a brook. Yeah. I did that the other day on Christmas when I went for that ski. I almost got in a little trouble because there's that place where you have to cross the brook, and it wasn't frozen, and the sides are pretty steep. So what are you going to do? There's that one skinny little plank that goes across, which you can't really fit two skis on it. So you kind of have to finagle one ski and just have the other one half off.
That's ballet right there.
Yeah, it was ballet. I'm amazed that I made it. I was sort of expecting to just take a dunk. That would not have been fun.
Yeah, you can get next to the fire on that one.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of way out there in the woods. You know, you'd have a wet ride home.
I remember one time we were building this little hut on Mount Ascutney into the granite, and I was telling one of the kids, hey, don't get near that brook. He might. So I ended up falling through, and it was fairly deep.
Whoa.
And so I ran. It was like 0 or below 0. Everything froze solid. And I ran all the way back to the house, like 2 miles
Really?
down the mountain and back to the house, and jumped in the bathtub.
Oh my gosh!
That was
so you
cold.
were half frozen when you got there.
I was.
So you guys didn't have a bonfire up there or anything like that you could
No.
try to cope with it that way.
Nope.
Yeah, it's nice to have a fire out in the woods when it's super cold, like those loggers that do that when they make a point of burning brush to keep warm. I mean, like sub-zero kind of weather. Yeah.
That's tough sledding.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Hey, what about this business of plane rage lately? You know, there's road rage. Now there's plane rage.
Yeah, what's with that?
I don't know. It's
I don't like airplanes anyway. I mean, there's so many things you have to contend with. Oh, excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, when I did a little bit of flying, I realized, there were a lot of things to, it's not like having the wheel and the brake and the gas pedal. You got about 5 different things going on.
Oh, you mean piloting?
Well, piloting, is tricky, but then when the passengers get unruly,
Yeah.
and and then what was this business about malls? I saw some news where people were starting riots in malls
Really?
around the country. Crazy
Riots.
stuff. Riots. Fighting, and I don't know anyways. We'll get off that and back to the woods.
Boy, I'm glad we live in Vermont.
Yeah.
We don't have enough malls here to really do much. You know?
That's true.
We're short on malls, but we sure got a lot of Dollar General stores. And what's the one? What's the main one? It's not Dollar General. What's it called? The dollar store. Is that what it is?
I guess it's a dollar store.
The names are also generic. You can't even remember what they are. It just has dollar in it. That's all that you care about. Yeah, they're fighting them now. You know, there's one that's is trying to get into Bethel, one in Pittsfield trying to get in. And the reason they can do it, the reason that they're not under any weird zoning is because they're so small. So they don't really rate on the blip of the zoning department very heavily.
Like Walmart, you mean? Or...
Yeah, Walmart, of course, is huge. So it's more of an issue what they do in a community. But if you're tiny, just stick that. I always think of the bright yellow sign. It's so ugly. It's so out of place in Vermont. Kind of like when a McDonald's comes to town. Remember, there used to be a McDonald's in Windsor, right?
There was.
What happened to it? That one was less obtrusive. I don't think it had any golden arches.
No.
It was subdued.
But, people have a pretty good consciousness in Windsor, and they realize that, they didn't go there that much because sometimes the food just isn't that really good for you.
Yeah. But if you really, really need it, you can go up to Randolph. There's one up there on the exit?
Yeah, I stop there once in a while. I need that fix. Once in a while,
sometimes
your body needs that.
Yeah, sometimes you need the apple pie.
Yeah.
The coffee's not so great, but it's better than, say, I don't want to say it, but it's better than. I'm not going to say it because I feel mean every time I say, oh, such and such a place has such bad coffee because I talk about it all the time and it's mean. So forget it.
Okay.
That's why I make coffee at home.
Yeah, that's the best coffee.
Yeah, but if anybody ever wants to open a cafe in Chelsea, please, please, please have good coffee. That would be number one. If all you do is have good coffee, you'll get a crowd.
It's true.
A riot, maybe even, of happiness. Let's have 2017 be a riot of happiness.
No, I like that.
Yeah. Hear, hear. All right, I have to check the time. Because we run a tight ship here on 11th Hour Radio, and we have to play music every 20 minutes to cleanse the palate of the mind. And so today, we're going to hear a track called Remembering, which is a little familiar to me because I made it. It was just the easiest. I was in a hurry. I always have this excuse. I was in a hurry, so I had to get my own music. But I think you'll like it. Let's see if I can get it going. That was called Remembering. Are you all chilled out now?
Yeah, I'll tell you, that alleviates a lot of anxiety right there. That's what they're finding out more and more. The good effect that music has on us. It's great.
It's important, isn't it?
It is.
I was going to ask you about your music making and why it's important to you to write songs.
Just to me, there's a certain energy out there that somehow I just open up sometimes, I guess, and it kind of comes through me. But I like the idea of all of us making our musical kind of statements with good energy, and it just makes this world so much better with this music. My God, there's so many wonderful singer-songwriters, musicians everywhere. All these countries, if we came together like that, good Lord, what a planet.
Yeah, I think in certain ways we are already together with that energy. What's that sound?
That's that wind.
That's something. The wind has been doing some crazy stuff in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, well,
you know what? We're getting solar wind. We're getting a big dose of solar wind today.
From the flares?
Mm-hmm.
Solar flares, is that what it is?
Yeah, and it makes aurora borealises. I don't know what the plural is for that, but how did you get into music anyway?
Oh, I always wanted to do music. My brothers were rock and roll stars, and I was in the Air Force in college, and I wanted to play, but I didn't feel like I had any talent. And then one time I was traveling. I must have been 27 or so, and bought an $8 guitar in San Salvador and just started strumming it, making notes from somewhere within me. And that's what I did. I didn't really learn music. I just play sounds, and it's been a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, but fun.
Yeah, and I maintain, I guess that's the phrase I'm looking for, that if you do something long enough, you get somewhere. Like if you just keep doing it, even if you're bad at it, if you really want to get better, persistence goes a long, long way, and you will eventually, look at us, a couple of oldsters here. We just kept at it. Kind of doing our own thing, and not really making that much money on it.
Yeah, everybody gets this grand idea when you're young. Oh, we can make it big, and stardom and all that. It comes a point where you keep doing it because you absolutely love it. It's a great thing.
Yeah, it's definitely, you just, it's a way to know yourself better. It's a way to connect with other people, because when you get done creating something, then you get to share it. And then there's a whole new conversation that can occur from that. I would say that songs open a conversation, wouldn't you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, and that's what we want. We want better communication between all of us so we can understand each other better, because God knows it's difficult sometimes. And that's why today's Personal Growth Friday topic is divorce.
Oh, divorce.
Do you know anything about that?
I do.
A lot of us do.
Yeah, I've had a couple.
Yeah.
I think you've had a couple too.
Yeah. Hey, you don't really know what they're all about unless you have a couple, right?
Yeah.
Do you think they should be feared?
No.
Funny question, I know. That's not quite the phrasing that I meant.
Embraced divorce.
Well, here's the thing. I feel that the word divorce, by definition, it does not save people from their worst instincts. It's just the word itself is adversarial just from the start. And I just think it's time for an overhaul. I think we need to overhaul divorce. Really overhaul it. First of all, starting with the word, get rid of the word Whoever wants to hear that word, much less do it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
You didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. Let's do something else. So here's my suggestion. I think that there are times when people do need to part ways, and it shouldn't be a crisis. It shouldn't be. I mean, it can definitely feel like a failure, but I think that if communities would support people to part ways amicably, even if they hate each other at the moment, and they can't resolve their issues, I think that's the time when people should be supported and assisted. All those people who show up at your wedding, they should show up around your divorce, but they don't, because they get freaked out and they don't know what to do, and you get deserted by a lot of people. And it takes a long time to repair, to heal from that. It's a community thing. It's not even just with your partner. It has all these reverberations that go out into many parts of your life. So I think I just think we can change it. I think we can turn it more into a transformative experience.
Well, it should be. I mean, it's all about growth if you look at it right.
Yeah. 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 I mean, that's the best thing that comes out of it, is that you get an opportunity to grow personally. And especially if you can't do it directly with the other person, like whatever those issues are, if they can't be dealt with directly, then you have to work on it yourself. And that's great. It's always great to have an opportunity to kind of see more deeply into what motivates you and what you've been up to and how you've been acting maybe unconsciously. And, every person can move their own soul development forward they don't need the permission or the cooperation or even the participation of anybody else. They just need support. I mean, we all need support. Life is not fair, but people can be fair. It's always nice when people are fair.
They can be.
They can be. I just hear a little trepidation in that. Well, that's the thing, is that the value of people being fair, it's so much greater when you have the experience of people not being fair in a big way, when people really screw you over. And you get that hard lesson. Have you ever been screwed over?
No. No, I've been very lucky.
Good. Some people have good luck. And that's great, too.
It's nice to still be friends, with exes.
Yeah.
I've had 14, so. No, that was my uncle. I'm sorry. My Uncle David had 12.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he married.
No.
Well, out of those 12, I think he married one woman 3 times.
Really?
Yeah, he kept. So that was 9 and 3, I believe, was the count.
Whoa, he was a goer.
Yeah, and he was a lawyer, so he could handle the case, real easily.
Oh my gosh, he had it all.
He had it all.
And he lost it all, probably.
Well.
In the end, what did he have in the end? Is he still with us?
No.
Then what did he have in the end? Did he have a lot of life wisdom?
I think so, yeah. I started writing a song about him. I said, well, he's 55 and still alive. That's how it started. But then he died, so I stopped the song. It's like...
I love that. Oh, yeah.
But he would party down. I think he was in pain, a lot of pain physically, because he had a crash in an airplane, and he had a long recovery, and he was in pain. But he was a great lawyer. Man, he would come into that courtroom, and he had a charisma, and he would snap his suspenders. He'd snap them.
Wow, and everybody would sit up straight.
He strutted around there like a big old rooster, man. Wow. He had control.
You definitely need that as a lawyer or a litigator, anyway.
Yeah, he hardly ever lost a case.
Gee whiz. Was your dad charismatic?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I'll bet. You guys are all charismatic, your whole family.
He served in the House of Representatives, but, he was a Republican, and I was leaning more to the left, and but I always said, Dad was a Republican until he got drunk, and then he became a Democrat.
I love that. That's awesome. You see, it's all the same. We're all together in this.
We are, damn it. We got it. We're being separated so much these days. There's almost a civil war in this country, being liberal or conservative. Come on, people.
I know.
Let's get together. We're all one here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's people sit in their houses and just imagine that, you know, there's an other out there. Other with a capital O.
I just think sometimes we're getting played, you know, like that mouse we're being toyed with by some power here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good reason to resist it, huh? To do it differently than how we're sort of culturally conditioned. We're culturally conditioned to have, you know, be suspicious and have our fists up.
Yeah.
But a little openness goes a long way. You know, a little heartfelt openness.
It's so interesting. Jesus gets misconstrued so much.
Oh, God. My gosh.
You know.
This is true. That old Jesus. He had a hard row to hoe.
He did.
But seeing as this is not a religious show...
I thought it was. I thought this was a religious experience here.
Well, it can't. We always try to make it somewhat of a religious experience, or at least a spiritually uplifting. So, did I hear the train whistle? I swear I can hear that thing like miles away. Just like I can hear the quarry bell up in Barre from my house, which is, you know, sort of just over the line into Washington from Chelsea.
Serious? You can hear
I
that?
can hear the quarry bell up in the quarries.
Wow.
At about 7. They still do that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But you know, Eddie's letter got to Louisiana. Did you know that? He got it. He got it on Christmas.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
It was perfect.
Yeah, I sent this. I had put off writing this letter to our friend Eddie for months and months, and finally I got the whole thing together. I had the Christmas letter. I had the letter about his music. I had the bookmarks. I put it all in the envelope. And then off it went into the mailbox. And only then did I realize that I hadn't put enough postage on it. So I think it went in the box. It went in the box over the weekend, right? And then I showed up at the post office at, I think, 9 o'clock the next morning, and it was too late.
And guess what? The Postal Service down there looked the other way.
Well, that's
I got the word.
Really? Is that what they did?
They were in the
Nobody
right
had to
spirit.
pay that 21 cents? Because I thought it was going to come all the way back to Vermont from where Baton Rouge.
After all, it was Christmas, and, you know, I wish this would happen, though, every day. Why do we do this just one day? I mean, it should be every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've had packages come back from Italy 3 months later. That is just wrong. You know, if I'm sending stuff to my daughter, and the reason was I wrote that there was shampoo in there, and they don't like that. They don't like things that are liquid, perishable, hazardous, or, you know, just bad.
Gee.
Don't put bad stuff in your packages. Sheesh.
Boy.
Yeah, be careful. All right, I got, I think, another track of music to throw up here. You know what I mean? I'm not actually going to throw up.
Oh, please.
Uh-oh. All right, let's see. This is the Cousins Project, which is related to me as well. So this is called Stealing Away, and the lead singer is my cousin, Steve Mayone.
I'm stealing away, 'cause the river is high. Gonna get me a boat and sail to the sky. Gonna get me a rigger and fly to the sun. Gonna leave all my worries and have me some fun. I'm stealing away under threatening skies. water is falling right into my eyes. Gonna give me a compass and a barrel of wine. Gonna laugh at the rain and have a good time. Well, I'm stealing away, 'cause the sky's about to fall. Roving gangs of kids are ready to brawl. Strange things are happening in my neighborhood. Wanna steal away while the stealing is good. I'm stealing away, 'cause the earth's about to crack. The banks of the river can't hold the water back. The mud is rising to the tops of my wheels. I'm stealing away with the devil at my heels. Well, I'm stealing away to a place in the sun. Gonna rest my head on a pillow of love. I ain't hurting nobody, nobody's doing me harm. Stealing away into my Savior's arms. Stealing away into my Savior's arms. I'm stealing away on the rising tide. Gonna get me some wings and let my spirit fly. Gonna find me a home to rest my weary bones. I'm stealing away, you're gonna miss me when I'm gone. I'm stealing away, ain't nobody doing me harm. I'm stealing away into my Savior's arms.
Yeah, sing it, Cousin Steve.
Ah, the lad's a fine player and singer.
He really is, and that was Jeff Berlin on the drums. He's really got that low down kind of swampy sound that we love here in Vermont.
He's wonderful.
Yeah, he's my fave.
Yeah.
We got to get him back up to the studio soon, which is my plan. So just before we go any farther, I just have to repeat what Kendra put on my Facebook wall. Because I know people have heard this before, but it's something that you just can't say too much. So it says, the definition of a musician is someone who loads $5,000 worth of gear into a $500 car to play a gig for $50. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about musicians right now.
Hallelujah.
Yeah. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
So thank you, Kendra. So what did you want to say something about some ski areas?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention some small ski areas right
that
off
you
the
like.
bat. Yeah.
Yep.
Northeast Slopes over in Vermont. Great little ski area. I skied there. Had a ski race when I was 14. That was a few years back. Of course, then there's Cochrane's. My cousins have a ski area in Richmond, Vermont. And let's see, Claremont, New Hampshire has a little ski area.
What's that?
Arrowhead.
Arrowhead. That's a good name.
Yeah.
Arrowhead. Mm.
So those are three that come to mind right off.
That's pretty cool. And for people like me who are kind of chicken skiers, because we never really learned properly, these are good places to go to just get up on your ski legs. You know, I can crash around the woods, no problem. Going onto a ski slope gives me the willies. So
yeah, well, some of these ski areas are just so big and so crowded that it's like skiing in a mall, man. It's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah, it's like the Vermont Mall on the weekends, and this weekend is probably going to be just nuts.
Yeah, I remember I was skiing at a ski area, and I decided that I was sick and tired of these trails, so I said, I'll take this thing down through these woods, and I was all dressed in black. And all of a sudden, I got so tangled up, I came rolling out of the woods without my skis right onto the trail.
Whoa.
Freaked people out. They thought I was a bear that suddenly emerged from the bush. It was wild.
Wow, that must have been impressive because you're pretty tall and you're a good skier too. So for you to get tangled up and get spit out onto the slope, that's something.
Oh yeah.
You were doing something naughty out there in the woods, just kind of taking some pretty gnarly rocks, I'm guessing.
Oh yeah. Sharpen your edges.
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to give you some choices because we have a little time left to talk about whatever the heck we want. So we could talk about how we met, which is kind of interesting. And then we can segue to Chernobyl. How about that?
Chernobyl.
Yeah, talk about toxic fear. But let's start with something nice.
Well, yes.
Okay, so I think it's very cool that I didn't meet you until recently because we have both been musicians in Vermont for a very long time. But I didn't know you, you didn't know me. But even back in the 80s, I remember I got called in to sing some harmony vocals on an album that your cousin Lane was producing with Peter Wilder. And you know whose album that was? It was very funny. It was this guy, Kendra, who's a pilot. Like he was an airline pilot. And he also wrote songs. And he had a studio in his basement in Jerusalem, Vermont. And that was where I met Lane. Well, I think I already knew Lane, actually, because he hung out with Peter and did recording with Peter. But so I knew your cousin decades ago. But I never heard anything about you. So yeah. What do you make of that?
Well, I was pretty obscure and out there. I was basically out of my mind.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Living on the fringe.
Well, I have seen some video of you swimming in the winter.
Well, yeah, I
catching
jumping thrash fishing.
Yeah.
We learned it from the Japanese many generations ago. I'd have a fly in my beard, of course, and tourists loved it. Go in and come up with a fish in your mouth. Green Mountain sushi. It was a lot of fun.
And where was this? Down at Hawk Resort?
Well, I would catch those by hand, big trout, through the ice. I'd get them to come up and I'd scoop them out, big 3-pound trout, and people loved it. Pete Meyer was with me back those days.
Really?
Oh,
So
we had a lot of fun.
You were famous.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, you were famous in this part of the state. I lived up north. I lived probably in Huntington or Burlington or Lincoln during that period. You were down in this neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's kind of the flatlands, isn't it?
Where?
Pretty south down here.
Yeah, this is pretty cushy.
Yeah.
You got that Connecticut River Valley moderate temperature thing going on. But I don't know. Then you head up into the hill country and it's all the same in Vermont, pretty much.
It really is.
There's a lot of,
I mean, there are a lot of transplants that have come in here from other places like Ithaca, New York, et cetera. But anyways, I'm grateful because people like you have come in here and like I can say to you, you're sometimes more of a Vermonter than Vermonters. It's pretty cool.
Well,
we've had a lot of good people come in here.
I sure try.
Yeah.
Well. I try to measure up. I've put in my hours chopping my water out of an icy pool and living without electricity and stuff like that. And I got that nice new axe for Christmas. That splitting axe. Did you see it? No. You wouldn't have seen it. I was talking about it at the dinner party.
I know, I remember.
Yeah. You'll see it. I'll show it to you.
I'd like to use it.
You'll like it. Yeah, you can try it out. It's real nice.
I don't want to interrupt, but I was thinking, I'm a deer hunter, of course, and I like to I didn't get any venison, but I remember shooting at 2 buck. And you're a vegetarian, and somehow, right. I don't know what happened, 2 buck in one day on Mount Ascutney. And it's like all of a sudden the image of you or something as I pulled the trigger.
Was that it?
And I missed both
Was
those
that
bucks.
it?
Yeah.
You think I had an influence on your hunting season?
Maybe a
how
little.
It went?
I could blame you for my bad shooting.
Cool.
So anyways,
I'm honored.
I go up there and I'm always touching trees,
Yeah.
Like I'm a deer hunter, but I'm a tree hugger. So I'm always touching trees and feeling their energy and trying to, being grateful and communicate. So I know the mycelium is always, those threads, those fungal threads are spread everywhere, and they communicate with each other.
Now, see, this is really an anomaly that we have a deer hunter who is also a tree hugger. People don't generally associate the two, but I'm glad that you are breaking ground in this area.
I am, and like I said, I can't shoot.
Cool.
Which is good.
That's great. I can't kill mice, so we're kind of the same. We're bonding over this.
Take a lot of mice to make a meal, though, just like the certain birds.
Yeah, well, if you were starving, I would not stop you from killing a deer. If we were starving, I'd say, hey, I'm really glad you know how to use that thing. Go use it. Use that thing.
That thing.
Yeah. But, you talk about that mycelium. I think that's how you say it. That's how it
I think so.
appears in my mind. That reminds me... I don't know why that reminds me of the Chernobyl documentary that I watched the other day. It was pretty amazing. I didn't realize what happened. Did you know that 500,000 people were sent in over, I don't know how many, I think it was in the first year probably, to clean that thing up? And most of them all got, badly irradiated with lethal doses. And this documentary, they took footage. Journalists went in there also, and they took footage of the guys. They called these guys up just like you'd call up the National Guard. So they had to go. And they were sent in to this reactor that was melting down. And they called up a bunch of miners to tunnel a tunnel down below Chernobyl reactor, the reactor that was melting down, to basically put a big cement base to try to keep it from, it was going to, I think this molten, kind of white lava, toxic lava was going to drip down and hit some water, and that was going to create an even bigger explosion and disaster. So these guys tunneled in and they poured all this cement and it's this unbelievable story. I just can't even believe it. And that radiation cloud traveled over Europe. It could have been so much worse, but it was bad as it was. And Corsica got a lot of toxic rain. So did southern France.
We got it too in Vermont.
I guess we all got it, but some of these nations wouldn't even admit to it. They didn't want people to know, and they pretty much covered it up.
Well, Fukushima's the same way. The ocean is pretty much full of Fukushima.
Well, yeah, I think, yes, it's right at that level. Fukushima's in the same category of a severe world disaster that's still ongoing. But that was, that was 87, I think.
People
Chernobyl.
kill me. They'll go, get over it.
Where's 86? Yeah, right. I know. Well, let's just send them the link to this documentary. They'll change their mind. But I guess one of the reasons I brought that up is that I had this image of those toxic clouds floating over the world, and it reminded me of toxic fear, and thinking that fear, the way that there's so much fear in the world, and that has a way of spreading and invisibly connecting with the whole world. Like the whole world feels the pulse of that fear. It's like the mycelium. It's like how the trees communicate. We have energy so if people are having trouble sleeping, if people are feeling anxiety that they feel is not their own, this is what I think, is that it's world fear. It's global fear, and we all have to sort of shoulder that burden.
It really is, and there's only a few people causing these awful toxic situations, and the rest of us just want to live in peace with our family and
you got it.
friends, and that spawned a new Russian band, a punk band.
Really?
Chernobyl. It was called Toxic Lava.
You're kidding me. You're always thinking of band names. You're pretty good at it. I like the one Night Farmer.
Did I come up with that?
I don't know. Maybe, I can't remember. Had something to do with my neighbor.
Huh.
Night Farmer.
I'll be darned.
But Yeah, let's put out a book of band names. That's for next year, 2017.
Jitterbone.
That's right. That's a good one, Jitterbone. Yeah, 2007. I hear the train is so late today. It's coming now.
Now I can hear it.
Yeah, here it comes. It's pretty exciting. So just hold on to your chair. Oh, I just have one New Year's resolution that I have to talk about before the show ends, okay? So I don't usually go in for the New Year's resolutions, but this year, my resolution is to maybe not play the banjo. That's what it is.
Now, wait a minute. You're going to have to do that.
I mean, I have to play banjo?
Yeah, because that song that I wrote, Nine Pine Bar, is going to have to... Well, you've already played it.
See, I'm going to have to fix the banjo part. I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Wait, 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. Right?
You got plenty of time.
I got tomorrow to redo the banjo part, and then I quit because I'm a really bad banjo player.
You know what? I wouldn't say that.
Well,
just to be able to play is pretty amazing.
It's kind of a just...
That was a nice track earlier. Remembering was very nice.
Yeah, well...
You were playing banjo.
Yeah, I just shouldn't try to be like Bill Monroe or Bo Thayer.
Yeah, you don't have to be.
No, I just kind of plink around on it privately without inflicting it on anyone. So, I'd say set your goals low for 2017. Pick something easy to do.
And wave to each other on the back roads like we used to. Nobody waves anymore.
There you go.
A few, but...
That would make a lot of difference to me, to you. We would feel better. Because we're never going to catch that train. It goes by too fast. So we're stuck here. We're stuck here in Vermont. We're going to have to stay and make it work. Right? So let's be friendly. Yeah. Yeah, I can see you're agreeing with me. You're nodding. So I think we're going to have to get off the air. You've been listening to 11th Hour Radio, coming to you live from South Royalton, Vermont. And I'm Kristina Stykos, and I'm here with Davey Davis.
96.5.
Oh, that sounds so good. So we're going to leave with a track of music called The Lake by Brian Clark of Callus. So thanks for listening, and see you next week.
you.